Hello! It is so late Saturday night that we have made it all the way into Sunday morning. I had a busy night at work tonight, and I just came in, was getting settled in, and taking a look through the Nag Hammadi scriptures. So our Saturday night secret sermon is our segment where we do secret teachings of Jesus. And what that is I was really curious about reading the Gnostic Gospels, like from the Nag Hammadi scriptures and the Dead Sea Scrolls eventually. And I didn't know when I'd have time to do it. So I thought I'd make this a segment with us. And I'm fairly tired, and I have a little bit of a cold, or I feel like I have something, so I'm not too peppy. So I think I'm really gonna try to make this one short tonight, even though we usually go on for like 45 minutes. But yeah, so I will read you a portion. We are in the Gospel of Philip right now. So I will read you a portion, and then I will unpack it line for line. According to like the downloads I'm getting. Caveat, I'm not a theologian. I'm just interested in doing this. And so we're doing it together for the sake of entertainment and spiritual growth. Let's see. And one thing that is really relevant tonight, when we push ourselves to share for the sake of the greater good, and we push through our comfort zone and we do something that's difficult or has us outside, like pushing through, like not feeling like it or whatever, that usually reveals so much more light. I was just thinking before I got on into this video, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really am just like not feeling super like peppy. I don't want to do this. I just want to cook something and like take a shower and go to bed. But I was like, no, I can't, because this is the night that it would be, the most important. So, or would resonate the most with some one person across the world or something. So I was like, okay, I'll come on here and do this. So hopefully in the spirit of sacrifice and Eucharist, we are breaking our flesh on behalf of sharing with the greater good. So let us start. So our portion today, I lost it. Is faith and love. Faith, and just a little bit of context about the Gospel of Philip. Some of these Gospels have a little bit more narrative and dialogue happening. The Gospel of Philip is like these increments, these portions of this like very cryptic, abstract text that I think you're meant to like meditate on and chew on for a while. It's like a mental yoga. There's also a lot of references and symbolic references going on as well. So, with no further ado, let us begin. Faith and love. Faith receives, love gives. No one can receive without faith, and no one can give without love. So to receive, we have faith, and to love, we give. If someone gives without love, that person gets no benefit from what was given. Anyone who receives something but does not receive the Lord is still a Hebrew. At first I kept reading that and I was just like, this just sounds like a burn or like a dig at the, like some random and if you don't receive the Lord, then you're just a Hebrew. But I think I know the reference, all right, at least a reference is coming to mind where this might connect. So anyway, we'll start from the beginning. Faith receives, love gives. So I think this is interesting because in the universe, in existence, there's two aspects that make up existence. There's the light, which is source, which is God, which is all that is, all of existence. And then there is vessel. We are vessel. The space that holds all of existence is vessel, right? It's the ultimate vessel. It's the divine feminine is the vessel. So we are the vessel, and we are our aim is to receive the light. And the light is like anything fulfilling in this world is really just the light being revealed through that thing, right? And so all of these things in life are these different vessels, you know, whether they be people or jobs or books, a vessel for, you know, communication of an idea, right? You know, all these things are vessels everywhere. And so the vessel is our capacity to receive the light, to receive health, to receive money, to receive love, a compliment, whatever. The vessel receives something, it holds something. So what determines, and so if we receive things before our vessel is strong enough or large enough to contain them, then it will create chaos. Like we won't be able to keep the thing, right? Or it just won't, like, it won't pan out. So our vessel, the strength and size of our vessel is determined by our faith and our self-worth. Our faith is like the strength of our vessel to hold the light. And usually the strength of this vessel to hold this light, this requires faith, because you're usually going through a challenge or you're having to exert yourself to create this vessel, right? So it requires faith to hold the vessel solid to receive, right? And then your self-worth, what you deserve, the amount that you're able to hold and receive, has to do with your self-worth, how you value yourself, what you think you deserve. So faith receives and love gives. I want to point out too that when we are manifesting, it requires faith for us to receive. Like in the Bible, you know, when we're taught how to pray, we're taught how to pray for what we want with joyful expectation and gladness that it's already a done deal. It's already ours. It's already been delivered. So I feel like I need to blow my nose. 1 second. And my pants are undone. I'm a wreck. So we're taught to pray in this like expectant like gratitude that it's already a done deal, which takes faith, right? And it's not just that we can pretend that like we have faith, like it's the magic sauce that unlocks the miracle. This is true in manifestation too. It's like you have to believe that what you want, that what you're creating, what you're calling in, what you're building, what your goal is that you're working towards, you have to believe and have faith that it is a done deal, that it is not only possible, but it is coming for you. So whether you're looking at it from a spiritual perspective or just a like scientific neurological perspective, either way, faith is the thing, the magic sauce that allows you to receive. So if you are praying about something in your life or trying to call something in, and you're coming up against challenges, those challenges are only ever there to grow your faith, to grow your strength, to grow your capacity to receive more. But the thing is that as a vessel, as a soul in this life, we're always learning and we're always like evolving and growing so that we can love more and share more, give to the idea of unity, right? Share, and you know, what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine because you are me and I'm you, right? It's a belief in that unity. And so to share is to love, right? Because we are love. And love is overflowing, and love is like the essence of creation. Love is like the tendency of beingness, right? And to create, to be, is to share. So we're always learning how to be more sharing. We're always trying to get rid of our negativity so that we can become more sharing, so we can bring more love into the world. We can bring more love through us and share that with others. We also need to be able to receive as a vessel, but we're not trying to receive. See, when we receive for the self alone, that builds ego, that builds negativity, that's selfish, that's adding to darkness. But when we receive for the sake of sharing, then that adds love into the world. The same goes for, or there's a connection with that, with giving too. When we give with love, we receive back what we've given. And what we give multiplies, and it's even more powerful, and it goes even further. The many loaves and fishes were given in love and faith. They were received in faith and given in love. Faith receives and love gives. Faith receives. There's something interesting about when you're manifesting. Sometimes you manifest the things that you joke around about the easiest, because it's not even that you want them the most or that you expect them to actually show up. It's just you'll say something totally offhanded and absurd, and you don't have anything in your subconscious that's going like, no, I don't think that's possible. What am I gonna do if it doesn't work out? Like, you're just joking around. You're like, oh, wouldn't it be great if we had popsicles? Oh my God, what if that happened? And you're just like going with your life, and you're like, oh my God, popsicles. It actually happened to me once. I won't go into that story. But, you know, or like the time I just kept saying like, oh, I want caviar. And like a flight of caviar like showed up at our work to like, and we just like got to eat it. Like for like, it was all the greatest caviars. Like beluga wasn't even the best one. And it's because like, I'm just saying like, oh, I want caviar. Like, oh, like, I'll get it eventually at some point, you know, this summer. I just haven't gotten around to it. Right. There wasn't really anything in me that was like, oh no, I will never get caviar. What if I never get caviar? Wouldn't it be funny if we ended up and that, it's always those offhanded remarks that end up happening. And then later you're like, oh my God, we totally said this earlier. You know what I mean? Those things happen so easily because it's like, you don't even have to have, you only have to have a mustard grain seed of faith, right? So it's like in that kind of case, it's not even that you had to have any conscious faith that it would happen. It was just that you were just not in resistance to that it could happen. You weren't over there wringing your hands in fear, lack, or doubt, or, disbelief that it was possible. There was nothing in your subconscious pushing it away, right? It was just like, yeah, whatever. So it was just easy. It could just come through. So imagine if we just could like offload our resistance or, even imagine if we could actually like strengthen our faith and offload our resistance, right? So faith receives, love gives. No one can receive without faith because you're resisting. You're saying that you either don't think it's possible, so then you're not in resonance with the thing because you're saying I don't have it and I'm not going to have it or I can't have it. And that's not in vibration with I have this now. I am this, So it's just not vibrationally, scientifically possible to have something that you don't believe in. And I mean, doesn't that make sense? Like you wouldn't even bother, right? It wouldn't be real to you. But you wouldn't resonate with it on a vibrational level. No one can receive without faith. Yeah, like you won't manifest if it's not possible. But also too, it's like I was just thinking about how like the heart, the way we feel is what makes the magnet. It's like the magnetism of like what we're drawing to us. But it's like faith is something that we feel, you know, or at least it inspires the way we feel, right? It's not a feeling, because feelings come and go and they pass. But having faith has such a dramatic effect on our feelings. It gives us a feeling of security. It gives us a feeling of wholeness, of completeness, of all is in its right place. You know, if you have faith, you feel settled. You feel at peace inside. You feel like all is in order. You know, you don't have anywhere else to be, right? You feel whole. You feel secure. You feel provided for. You feel abundant. No one can receive without faith, and no one can give without love. I mean, you can like do the act of it, but it's like an empty act. It doesn't have that same spark within it. And it doesn't like ignite the process of like you shedding, like you might shed some negativity or So what goes around comes around, and what we give, we're supposed to receive, you know, back. But I feel like that's only when we give in love, and we give in faith, and we give, you know, with our whole heart. You know, we give out of authenticity, out of alignment. When you give out of a sense of abundance, out of a sense of love, it's like it's blessed and it comes back to you. If you give out of a sense of fear and lack and doubt and like begrudgingly, you're gonna lose more, because you're getting in a sense of lack, fear, and doubt. You're getting grippy, you're getting selfish, you're getting, you know, defensive. And so you're then in a vibration of fear, of not faith, like you're not going to be taken care of, like you don't have enough to share, like God isn't like eternally good, you know? And so there is no vibration of love in that mindset. There's no vibration of love where fear is. And so if you're not giving out of love, then you're giving out of a sense of obligation, which is fear of being smited, fear of being abandoned, fear of being rejected, you know, feeling like, oh, it's dutiful, like you got to do it, you know, you're required. It's just like you're just doing a transaction at that point. And you can give to a degree that will break your negativity, like you will offload negativity and break shells of negativity in your soul work. But it doesn't open up the same kind of miracle. It doesn't attract more abundance to you, right? You may be working off some things, like karmically speaking, but you're not going to be attracting more. You're not going to be growing it, right? Because you're just not in the right mindset. It's like, if you're not giving in love, then it's not really giving. It's just passing something to someone. But it's not a gift, or it doesn't have the same life in it. It doesn't have the same magic. It doesn't have the same miraculous spirit in it. And so then at a metaphysical level, it's not doing the job that it's supposed to do, because it's not revealing the same light. It's not cracking open enough negativity. It's not breaking down that darkness to reveal enough light for it to give off that, for us to connect with that miracle, right? The miracle is always there. The light is always giving. But we as the vessel, it's like our reception is cutting in and out. And so when we're in a state of love, our reception, our little tuner is dialed in. And so we're in that flow. We're one with all that is. We are in that state of openness, of being an open channel of giving and receiving, giving and receiving. But when we get caught up in our ego, when we get fearful, when we get scarce, when we get insecure, it's like we completely shift from that frequency, and we cut ourselves off from it. So it's so powerful when you give in the state of love, because that act of sharing, it magnifies it, because it grows exponentially, because you're connected to source in that act. So to receive, we have faith, and to love, we give. And it's like when you love, you can't help but want to give. Like, you want to show your love. You want to express your love. You want to give your day to them by telling your people who you love, like, oh, listen to what happened to me. You know, you want to give your attention to them, you know, and give them, you know, the floor while they share their day with you. You want to give people experiences and things that they'll love. You want to give someone like the good cookie that's left over. You know what I mean? Like when your heart is full of love, it's overflowing, right? My cup runneth over. To love is to give. If love is the tendency of being, to be is to give. From a place of void came light into the world. It gave into a space, right? It's this sharing act. The light is always giving. It's always sharing. It's always emanating, right? And we're always here as a vessel to receive, but is our vessel closed? Does our vessel have cracks? Is our vessel going to crack under the pressure? You know, is it too small to contain what we're trying to ask for? Do we need to earn a bigger vessel, right? Most of our spiritual practice is the process of earning the vessel, right? It's the process of showing up as disciples in our discipline to learn, to change who we are, and for the better, right? To grow, to share more, to be able to work harder to receive more so that we can share more, you know? To learn more so that we can share more, to become a better vessel for the light so that I can share and radiate the light to others. So the more you work on yourself and the better you are as a person, you're out there with a different level of consciousness, making better decisions that actually affect others in a better way because you care, right? You do little things that add to the greater good, and they add up over time. And all of a sudden, it's like, wow, you're affecting the places you are, and you're making a difference. You're making a difference in the lives of people, and they see that, and they start making improvements in their lives, and they start taking those pointers, and they start taking those habits and those practices, and they start sharing as well. They start sharing to other people because people want to give love. We want to make things good. We want things to be better. As long as we're connected with that in our memory of our truth, right? It's when we get bogged down and just run down and disconnected from that light. When we forget who we really are, what's inside of us, what the point of all this is all the time. You know, we forget that I am you and you are me. And the only reason that we're here interacting is just to be that 1,000-petaled lotus. Like, we're always just blooming and revealing more of ourselves to ourselves and to each other, just to reveal more of the Creator into the world. Let's see. So to receive, we have faith, and to love, we give. If someone gives without love, that person gets no benefit from what was given. So, like, if you tithe, but you're like, oh, I don't want to tithe. Oh. Or if you're like scared about it, or like you're, you know, like nervous, or like you're not really excited about it, you're going through the motions, it's going to be a dead gift, dead sacrifice, no power in it, right? We need to push ourselves out of our comfort zone. Give in a way that is not comfortable to us, right? Give in a way that has life in it, even to just, you know, give aimlessly and blind, you know, like, not blindly, but like with no feeling in it, right? It's like, I mean, that does still something, but it's not as powerful. Yeah, to share from the heart. I mean, that is a very powerful thing. And it has a ripple effect. If someone gives without love, that person will not get a benefit from the thing. Okay. Anyone who receives something but does not receive the Lord is still a Hebrew. Now, I think that, so like the term Israelite is a term for a person who is on that spiritual path of soul correction, on the path of spiritual connection to the God of Abraham. It's a person who has like a living relationship with the light of the Creator within them, and they are evolving and ascending their soul, and they are opening and expanding and evolving and ascending their consciousness, and they're embodying that in their life and bringing that into the world. And it's a way of life. It's a level of consciousness. It's a level of living. It's a level of beingness in the world. It's not just a genetic title or a place where you're from or what have you, but it is more of a title of consciousness. It's a level, right, on the path to Christ consciousness. So I think in this regard, the Hebrew is the person who hasn't entered into the process of, or like hasn't entered onto the path of Christ consciousness. So they are just working at a base level of consciousness. They haven't had the awakening yet. Because it says, anyone who receives something but does not receive the Lord is still a Hebrew. Now down here in the footnotes, it says in another unrelated portion, it's talking about the Aramaic. Jesus comes from the Hebrew and Aramaic names Yahshua and Yahushua, Joshua, which mean the Lord, in parentheses, Yahweh, which is salvation. So this could be read, anyone who receives something but does not receive salvation is still a Hebrew. Meaning, when you're receiving the light and you're not awakened yet, like you're not spiritually awakening, you don't have that salvation. You haven't been saved yet from your darkness. You're still trapped in the chaos. You don't understand the relationships between spiritual laws and cause and effect, right? You haven't been saved by the Christ. You've been liberated in your heart. And you haven't, like when you're saved by the Christ, it's like it's like you're agreeing to go on this path of conscious expansion, inner growth, healing of the heart, correcting the soul. And so if you're receiving all of these things in your life, all of the blessings, all of the tests and the signs and the challenges, and none of it is changing you, none of it is affecting you for the better, none of it is waking you up, none of it is like healing your heart or pushing you to grow or pushing you to share or giving you faith to receive, then you haven't left phase 1 yet, right? You're still at the base level of consciousness. So yeah, giving is an act of love. The light, so like light and vessel. Light is masculine, vessel is feminine. Masculine gives, feminine receives. The light is all-encompassing, both masculine and feminine energy. The divine marriage of the holy, like divine masculine and feminine, that's the whole, that's the creator. But the creator, from the beginning point of reality, is first expressed as masculine energy because it gives into a vessel. It gives that, all the light and the energy into a space. Think of the Big Bang, right? When that singularity burst forth, like the whole of creation. And faith receives. Yeah, we can't receive without faith. So faith opens the vessel. Faith strengthens the vessel. The amount or the quality of what you will be able to receive for yourself will be dependent on how much you love yourself, how much you esteem yourself, what your self-worth is, right? And don't beat yourself up about that, because, I mean, it's taken me a long time to understand the nuances of, like, what is self-worth? What does that look like in the day-to-day? Like, how do you workshop that in your life, right? But as you start connecting it in real time more and more, you'll see how it grows, right? You'll see how, like, wow, when I have complete certainty and confidence and faith that this is happening, that this is all working out in my favor, things just start falling into place and they manifest. Whoa. And the more that you see that when you have faith, it always delivers. Like when you choose it, you can just choose to have faith. And you don't even have to have the real feeling turned on yet. You can just choose it mentally. I'm choosing faith. Every time I get a case of the scaries, turn the channel, I'm choosing faith. And eventually you will start to feel it. But as you see little things start happening and you're like, oh my God, like I just knew that would happen. I was faithful. I held on to faith and it happened. It'll grow it, right? It'll grow that muscle, it'll get stronger, and it'll feel easier, right? The tests will always be there, but suddenly they won't affect you as much. You'll be moving through life and everybody else is going to be talking about how crazy and insane everything is all the time. And you can be like, it's pretty good for me. You know, I get what you're talking about, but like, I don't know, my faith is just bringing me things right and left. And certainty, what we talk about on this channel and what the Kabbalah Center talks about, is having faith beyond reason. Certainty in the Creator is knowing that no matter what is playing out the circumstances, the Creator is within everything. And all the circumstances are playing out a process for me to break my negativity and reveal more light. The process is only happening so that I can learn how to receive for the sake of sharing and to share, right? To get rid of my negativity that holds me back from doing one of those two things, right? From sharing love or receiving love in this world. So that's all very encouraging. So faith receives, love gives. No one can receive without faith, and no one can give without love. So to receive, we have faith, and to love, we give. If someone gives without love, that person gets no benefit from what was given. Anyone who receives something but does not receive, anyone who receives something but does not receive the Lord is still a Hebrew. So people who are receiving but not having salvation, they're not awakening. They're not having that spiritual awakening yet. I feel like there was... so I was going to say that person, okay, so if things are given without love, that person gets no benefit from what was given. So earlier I'd mentioned that by giving, you can break shells of negativity. Like, there are different ways to cleanse our negativity. So what's going on is that we have the light of the Creator within us, that spark of divine, and we have these veils around this light that keep it dim and under control. And these veils are mostly negativity and conditioning and patterning of, that being a human has put around us, and it's like these ego shells. And it's negativity that we have earned from actions that we've done, from negativity that we've added into this life that creates shells. Or it could be shells of negativity that were kind of always assigned to us from the beginning as part of like our avatar of assignments for our lifetime. Or it could be negativity that we collected in other lifetimes for things that we did or contributed to that we're bringing with us into this lifetime. And so there are things that we can do to cleanse the negativity. And there's several different ways of doing that, but one of them is giving. And so it just seems to me that this is pointing out that unless you give in a spirit of love, you're not really getting a lot of the benefit of the giving, or it's not really getting that magic sauce. So you might still be cleansing a little negativity, but you're going to be getting a lot more negativity cleansed and a lot more coming back to you. The more love, the more joy that you have when you give. The more that you're like, oh no, this is so much fun for me. Like, I'm actually enjoying this too much. Like you give from a heart of like overflowing, right? Almost like out of selfishness, because you're like, oh, I'm getting so much more out of this because it's filling me up. All right, you guys, I've run out of steam. This is one of those times. We still are at 36 minutes. And I feel like I've said nothing, but I'm sure I've said something. Oh my goodness. Well, you guys, I hope that you can start exercising your faith and watching yourself receive, and then putting those like connections together and like growing those faith muscles. That's it's really exciting when you see that happen. And it makes it a whole lot easier to start seeing without believing, right? To believe before you see something. And that's literally the definition of faith. So, all right, y'all, I'm insane. I am so tired. I'm going to take a shower and have dinner and put myself to bed. But I hope y'all have a good Sunday. Bye.